So the 5% interest rates you're seeing now are actually cheap. Yes, you heard that correctly. We have been spoiled with our interest rates as low as and even dipping into the low 2%. And yet the highest interest rates were recorded back in October of 1981. Interest rates hit an all-time high of at 18.45%. with an average in the mid-16 range. And the culprit was basically high inflation and the OPEC embargo. So let's check out the correlation between the 1970s all the way up into where we're at in the housing market today. I'm about ready to throw a lot of numbers your way, but just bear with me until the end so that you can get data that's going to cover a 50-year period. We go back into the 1970s, interest rates were roughly between the 8 and 11%. We were seeing the average home price at only $27,000, but by the end of the decade, we had already seen home prices increase to over $72,000 for the average home. We still saw home prices from the 1980s moving into the 1990s still doubled, even with the high interest rates that we were seeing. And then as we approach into the 1990s, we were actually seeing interest rates between the 8 and the 10% range. Leading up to the internet boom and the dot-com era, we saw housing prices up to $202,000. During the 2000s, we actually saw interest rates get slashed down to about 0%, so that banks were actually borrowing money at a very low interest rate, and in turn, they were able to actually pass that on to the consumers. And in the year 2007, we saw housing prices, the average housing price increased to up to $322,000. We still saw that downfall. In 2009, we saw housing prices come back down. And then as we approached the 2010, we saw interest rates start to approach the 3 to 5%. And then as we approached even into the 18s, 2019, we saw interest rates start getting into the 3% and even dipping into the 2% range. In quarter one of 2020, we had a staggering average housing price of $383,000. Not before being quickly beaten in 2020 quarter four, where we saw the housing price average increase to a whopping $477,900. That's crazy. That's a 24.8% increase. Although you do have to keep in mind, with record high inflation and record high interest rates between 1970 and 1990, the average home prices went from $27,000 to $149,500. That was over a 554% increase in just over 20 years. So I just want to thank you for watching, and so just like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next time.